ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरश्चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु प्रभद्रेषु नित्यं सेवया भक्ति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद् विष्णुः परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं ते पितृभिरन्यैरप्यङ्गकर्हि चेत् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्। अनास्थितं never achieve te yo pitribhi by your forefathers, anyai by others, Api, even. Anga, O Dhruva. Karhichit, at any time. Atishtha, please come and live there. Jagatam, by the inhabitants of the universe. Vandyam, worshipable. Tat, that. Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. Paramam, supreme. Padam, situation. Translated by Shridhar Prabhupada. Dear King Dhruva, neither your forefathers nor anyone else before you ever achieved such a transcendental planet. The planet known as Vishnu Loka, where Lord Vishnu personally resides, is the highest of all. It is worshipable by the inhabitants of all other planets within this universe. Please come with us and live there eternally. When Dhruva Maharaj went to perform austerities, he was very determined to achieve a post never dreamt of by his forefathers. His father was Uttanpad, his grandfather was Manu, and his great-grandfather was Lord Brahma. So Dhruva wanted a kingdom even greater than Lord Brahma could achieve, and he requested Narad Muni to give him facility for achieving it. The associates of Lord Vishnu reminded him that not only his forefathers, but everyone else before him was unable to attain Vishnu Loka, planet where Lord Vishnu resides. This is because everyone within this material world is either a karmi, a jnani, or a yogi. But there are hardly any pure devotees. The transcendental planet known as Vishnu Loka is especially meant for devotees, not for karmis, jnanis, or yogis. Great rishis or demigods can hardly approach Brahmalok. And as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmalok is not a permanent residence. Lord Brahma's duration of life is so long that it's difficult to estimate even the duration of one day of his life. And yet Lord Brahma also dies, as so do the residents of this planet. Bhagavad Gita 8:16 says, Abrahma bhavana loka punar avartinorjuna. Except for those who go to Vishnu Loka, everyone is subjected to the four principles of material life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. The Lord says, Yad gatva na nivartante tad dham paramam mama. Planet from which once going, no one returns, is my supreme abode. In Bhagavad Gita 15:6, Dhruva Maharaj was reminded, you are going in our company to that planet from which no one returns to this material world. Material scientists are attempting to go to moon and other planets, but they cannot imagine going to the most planet Brahmalok, for it is beyond this material, the imagination. By material calculation, traveling at the speed of light, it would take 40,000 light years to reach the topmost planet. By mechanical processes, we are unable to reach the topmost planet of this universe. But the process called Bhakti Yoga is executed by Dhruva Maharaj, can give one the facility not only to reach other planets within this universe, but also to reach beyond this universe to the Vishnu Loka planets. We have outlined this in our small booklet, Easy Journey to Other Planets. Prabhupada ki. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं गुरो श्रीयुत्पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. As we've read today, the Vishnudutas have come to take Dhruva Maharaj to Vishnu Lok. We have heard so far that Dhruva Maharaj wanted the best of all the planets, a kingdom that was best that no one else before him had ever achieved, even his father or his grandfather, his great-grandfather. And although it was a childish prayer, the Lord satisfied his demand. A child may demand something from his father which father has never given to anyone before. Yet, out of affection, the father offers it to his child. Similarly, this unique planet, Dhruva Lok, was offered to Dhruva Maharaj by the Supreme Lord. So when you hear about Vishnu Lok, what is Vishnu Lok? Vishnu Lok is actually Dhruva Lok, or the pole star, which is the abode of Lord Kshirodakshai Vishnu within this universe, in this material world. And is situated about 1,300,000 yojanas from the 7 stars. Upon it, there is an ocean of milk, and within that ocean, there is an island known as Shvetadvip. It is actually situated about 7 planetary systems, above the 7 planetary systems of the Rishis, and because of this planet is Vishnu Loka, it is worshipped by all other planetary systems. It is actually the pivot of this universe, and all other planets move around this pole star. It is actually the center of all other stars and solar system. All them circle around Dhruva Loka just like a bull crushes grains by walking around and around a central pole. All the stars are tied to Dhruva Loka with ropes of air. It's like a chandelier. And they all revolve around Bhumandala. All the stars revolve around the Bhumandala. The polar star existed before, when the Vishnudutta said that no one has ever achieved this before. That means, does it mean that Dhruva Lok never existed? In fact, it is explained that the Dhruva Lok existed before, but it was not occupied. It had no predominating deity. After Dhruva Maharaj inhabited that Loka, it became known as Dhruva Loka. So Prabhupada mentions in Bhagavad Gita 1871 purport, he says, that those who are righteous in performing devotional service, but who are not pure, can attain the planetary system of the pole star or Dhruva Loka, where Dhruva Maharaj is presiding. He's a great devotee of the Lord, and he has a special planet which is called the pole star. So the pole star, does it remain at the time of dissolution? In fact, it is explained that until the entire universe is annihilated, this planet remains or will remain. even during the devastation which takes place during the night of Lord Brahma. In fact, there are two kinds of dissolutions. One is during the night of Lord Brahma, and the second is at the end of Brahma's life. At the end of Brahma's life, selected personalities go back to Godhead, which is Vaikuntha Lok. With Dhruva Maharaj, the Lord assured Dhruva that he would exist beyond the partial dissolution of this universe. Thus, at the end of the complete dissolution, Dhruva Maharaj would go directly to Vaikuntha, to a spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this connection that Dhruva Lok is one of the lokas like Shvetadvi, Mathura and Dwarka. They are all eternal places in the kingdom of Godhead, which is described in Bhagavad Gita. Tad Dhama Paramam. And in the Vedas, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah. We hear this prayer quite often. This actually is coming from Rigved Samhita. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah Diviva Chakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vyapannavo Chakrivamsa Samindhate Vishnoryat Paramam Padam. Means that just as those with ordinary vision see the sun rays in the sky, so the wise and learned devotees always see the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. Because those highly praiseworthy and spiritually awakened Brahmanas can see that abode, they can also reveal it to others. So from this episode of Dhruva Maharaj, what we can learn a few things. One, he got proper guidance. In fact, initially, he was instructed by his stepmother, Suruchi, to go and please the Lord, Supreme Lord. Only then he'll be able to appear from his womb and then be able to sit on his father's lap. So indirectly, it wasn't, even though she said it in a harsh way, but actually it was a blessing in disguise. She guided him. And then this was further confirmed by Dhruva Maharaj's mother, Suniti. She said, my dear son, whatever she said is true. And she said, do not envy. Don't hold any grudge or anything like that. Just don't be envious. Follow the instruction. So he went with the right attitude. He went with the right attitude, and that is to please the Supreme Lord. Now, at the age of 5, he performed this tapasya. How is it possible for these days for anyone to perform such difficult tapasya? Very difficult. In fact, you can't imagine someone doing such austerity, And after performing the austerity, the Lord appeared and granted him benediction. Now he said, he was very clear what he wanted. So when he said that I want a kingdom that no one has ever achieved, the Lord granted. Although after the Lord disappeared, he was remorseful. Now he said, what have I asked? I should have asked something more, better than just material kingdom. But nevertheless, the Lord granted him, and he ruled the earth for 36,000 years. And during that period, he enjoyed his kingdom. He enjoyed his kingdom to get rid of his punya, basically, to vanquish his punya, but at the same time, he performed austerity to get rid of his papa as well. So austerity, actually, attitude can be put into 3 parts. Austerity is one. The second is determination. He went with firm determination. He said, I want to achieve this. I need to do this. And he had the right attitude. The determination, he was determined. And even when Kuber appeared to him, he was determined to ask the right thing. He said, my dear Lord, my dear Kuber, please grant me unflinching faith in and remembrance of the Supreme Lord. That is something which we all have to aspire, ask, how can we have unflinching faith in Supreme Lord? How can we be fully remembering all the time? This can be very difficult, but that's the right type of food to ask. So he was determined, he was focused. Since anything we do, we have to focus, isn't it? In fact, Rupa Goswami says in Updeshamrita, Utsaha Nishchayat Dhiryat, Tat Karma Pravartanat, Sangha Tyaga Satu Vidya Sadhya Prasiddhiti. The foremost things of is Utsaha, you must have enthusiasm. The second thing is you must have confidence. And the third thing is you must have patience. Of course, Dhruva Maharaj had all of this, enthusiasm and confidence. He was confident he will be able to get what he's going. So, and the third thing is he had the right. He was truthful, basically. He was not duplicit. He had no duplicity. He was not envious. Whatever he had in his heart, he expressed it. He expressed it to the Lord. When the Lord appeared to him, he said, "This is what I want." And when Kubera asked him for a boon, he expressed what he wanted. So we have to be very honest in our dealings the same way to our Guru, Krishna as well. What we can learn from this is we must be expressing ourselves honestly. Don't don't be duplicitous. That a lot of times we don't realize it, but we actually are not sometimes honest with the Lord. Maybe with the Guru. We have to be very honest with the Guru. So Dhruva Maharaj was very honest with Narad Muni as well. Because when Narad Muni appeared to him, he surrendered. He was very obedient to him. He had proper guidance from his mother, Narad Muni as well. Then he had the right attitude. He performed austerity, and he was fully determined. He was fully determined in his process of devotional service throughout his life. And from this, what we can see is when you have the right attitude, you get the right association. When we have the right attitude, we have the genuine desire, the Lord provides us with the right association. He gets us to a spiritual master. But if we have this cheating propensity, then he sends you to a cheater to get cheated. Isn't it? We sometimes, I remember, sometimes people used to say, so and so is God, so and so is God, even that person is not God. But then, then we remember that actually Krishna is not a chalya. Okay, you want to go and worship this bogus imposter, by all means, I'll infuse your faith in that person. But we have the genuine desire, then the Lord manifests to us in the form of spiritual life, in the form of pure devotees. And that's when we get the right association. And when we have the right association, we get correct instruction. Having the right association means to have the right instruction. You must be willing to accept the instruction. We must be willing to listen to senior devotees, the spiritual master. The genuine attitude leads you to genuine association of devotees. And then this leads to association with the Lord. When we come to, I personally can say for myself, when I first joined the movement, I was a bit, I was thinking, what will my life be like? But by coming in touch with the devotees, getting the right association, and by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, for the shelter of Guru, and by the mercy of Guru, able to serve the Lord. This is a process, isn't it? The Guru, the Vaishnavas, engage us in the service of the Lord. So we must be willing to listen. So we have to be obedient. We must be willing to listen to the instruction of the Guru, the devotees. You know, when Dhruva Maharaj had, like I said, right attitude, when Dhruva Maharaj, sorry, Manu Maharaj appeared to him, stop fighting. He listened. He just obeyed. And that is the right attitude we must have. Be obedient, willing to listen, rather than to argue and fight, which we don't want. He was obedient to Narad Muni, he was obedient to Manu Maharaj, he was obedient to Kubera. And this actually leads us to become humble. We become humble by this. Having the right guidance right from the very beginning is very important. Then we have to have the right attitude. Just to sum it up, we must perform austerity. Austerity, not similar to what Dhruva Maharaj did, but we need to perform some sort of austerity. Chanting the holy names, increase our chanting. A lot of times we see in Ekadashi, people are instead of performing a story in Ekadashi, we actually enjoying it. We're looking for how can we enjoy more prasadam. Nothing wrong with that. But the acharyas say, as we advance, we must try to reduce our intake and focus more on chanting, reading katha during that period, rather than focusing on eating. A lot of times we see that, oh, today's Ekadashi, today's have to fast. That our mind goes only on thinking about how can I have prasada, when can I have prasada. This is common. But when we are fully engaged in the chanting, hearing the katha, remembering the Supreme Lord, then nothing else comes to our mind. It says that empty mind is the devil's workshop. Not them saying that is the case for us, but something else fits in there. When we don't remember Krishna, then something else comes there, replaces that mind, and then we start thinking about something else, something material, something else that is nothing to do with Krishna. So having the right attitude, having some sort of story is important. I remember when Prabhupada Prabhupada said, when you first join the movement, have prasad up to here. But as you advance, you must become Mitabhuk. Mitabhuk is one of the Vaishnava's qualities, one who eats required amount of prasad. Only enough, not more what is required. And determination. Determination is very important. Whatever we do, we must be doing it with full determination, full conviction. I remember Shuddha Krishna Maharaj just say, it has to be 100%. No 99%, no like 90%. I want 100% determination. I want 100% of your service, your love, your affection, your shraddha, your prema. Because when you go to the spiritual world, we don't need your that will not work 90%, 50%, whatever, 100%. And that is why the Guru sometimes can be heavy. But that heaviness is for the betterment of the disciple, train the disciple. And we have to be very truthful. So be truthful, when you are dealing with devotees, particularly when you're praying to the Lord, praying to the Guru, pray with open heart, express your feelings. And when you openly express, the Lord reciprocates. Don't have that, don't hold back. Of course, the Lord knows everything. In fact, Guru knows your heart as well. So sometimes we may try to hide the Guru, spiritual master. And of course, you have the right association with the right mind, like-minded devotees. Devotees who help you in spiritual life, who motivate you in Krishna consciousness, who engage you in the service of the Lord. A lot of times, we've seen sometimes devotees get disturbed by someone else, some other devotee's behavior towards them. We should not get agitated, we should not get angry, but what we should do is understand the situation, and with respect, somehow they engage in service rather than retaliating or something like that. Sometimes, in fact, I would say anyone who says something, they don't say it out of, because they feel bad about it, but because sometimes they want you to become better. Devotees are sometimes there to guide you, to instruct you, to so that you develop, you improve in your service. But that doesn't mean that we go and start correcting everyone, anyone in public or whatever. In fact, one of the acharyas was saying that if you want to correct someone, correct that person in private. Don't do it in public because it can offend. The guru is different. Guru can do whatever he like. That's it. But always be honest, be humble, and serve with determination. And then, of course, with that, be obedient. Listen to what the Acharya said. People say, when you have the right obedience attitude, then you'll be served more with more enthusiasm. So this is what I've got to share today. I was asked to, because today is also Srila Maharaj's Vyasa Puja, I was asked to speak a little bit on that as well. So what can we do? Shall we continue and then have the answers to questions later, or do you prefer to have answers question now? Any suggestions? Continue. Okay. So today is a very auspicious day because today is the Vyasa Puja of His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj, and a lot of people one of the stalwart leaders of this clan. So just a very brief biography here. So Bhakti Maharaj appeared in 1945 in Bengal. Actually, at that time it was Bangladesh. His was born in part of Bangladesh. Then after partition, they moved to Bengal, West Bengal. And he spent most of his early years in Calcutta. And he came from a very aristocratic family, very rich family. And they used to dress and nicely like the Europeans. And at that time, they're very modern, you can say. And he left India in 1970 to Germany to study chemistry. And then there he came across some Vedic literatures, and he discovered the richness of India's spiritual heritage. And in 1975, he returned to India to wholeheartedly pursue spiritual life. After thoroughly studying the Vedic scriptures, Maharaj came away and aware that it's very important that I need to have a spiritual master. And he started searching for a spiritual master. So from Delhi, he went to Haridwar, and he was traveling to he traveled to Rishikesh, and then there he saw people were doing, they were doing pranayam, but they were not following the yam and niyam. So he started seeing all this, people who were not following actual rules, regulations. And he was traveling to the Himalayas and searching for 1 year without coming across spiritual master to him who he could fully surrender. He became a bit disappointed, and then he came back to Calcutta. And in Calcutta, he started studying Vedic literatures. And then one day he came across a book called The Nectar of Devotion by His Divine Srila Prabhupada. And he started reading it, became so engrossed in the book that he realized that he had found a spiritual master, the path he had searched for. That night, Srila Prabhupada came to him in a dream, and he continued to read Srila Prabhupada's works. His conviction grew stronger as his desire to meet Srila Prabhupada, who was then preaching in the US. He joined the Mayapur temple at that time and became more involved in devotional service. So that was in 1976. He joined Mayapur. and was waiting for Srila Prabhupada's return to India. When Srila Prabhupada returned to India, the first direct meeting between the Guru and the aspiring disciple finally took place at the end of 1976. During that time, during the very first meeting, Srila Prabhupada gave Srila Maharaj the assignment of translating his books from English into Bengali and made him the secretary for Indian affairs. Within a few months, Srila Prabhupada gave him first and second initiation. So he was given first and second initiation on Gaur Purnima together. And 3 months later, Prabhupada awarded him sannyas, which was on Nanya. Yeah. Remember when Guru Maharaj was hearing that, when Guru Maharaj was awarded, Prabhupada was awarding sannyas, preparing to award sannyas, one of the senior disciples of Prabhupada came and said, how can you give him sannyas? He's only like a baby, he's only coming only now, and how can you give him sannyas? Prabhupada said, I know him, and now he's bhakti, you know. So Prabhupada didn't care, Prabhupada knew him, and of course, so the spiritual master knows it as the relationship. So Prabhupada knew and then gave him sannyas. So all of this demonstrated a remarkable investment of authority and blessing of Srila Prabhupada to have occurred in such a short period of time. And Maharaj personally traveled and served Srila Prabhupada for the final year, Prabhupada's life. After Srila Prabhupada's departure from this world in 1977, Maharaj served for several years while the society was going through a spiritual life. He was cooking for Prabhupada in the final days and serving. So he used to cook, and Srila Ramakrishna Maharaj used to serve Srila Prabhupada. So they developed this great bond between them. So that he used to look up Srila Ramakrishna Maharaj. Srila Ramakrishna Maharaj is his senior brother, and they had this beautiful relationship. Of course, during the times Prabhupada was lying on the bed, and his godbrothers would come and see. They used to speak to him in Bengali, and then Guru Maharaj would translate that conversation. In 1987, Srila Bhakti Maharaj became an initiating Guru in ISKCON and joined the society as GBC, serving as a chairman in 1989 and again in 2017. So he had translated by 1995. He had translated into Bengal all of Srila Prabhupada's works, like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, just as Srila Prabhupada instructed him. So he used to sleep at 9 p.m. and wake up at 12:30 a.m. to translate the books till early hours of the morning. Because that time was the quietest time, there's no disturbance. And this is what Prabhupada used to do as well, but we're not Thakur used to do like that, because that time is peaceful, quiet, and there's no disturbance. In 1996, Maharaj took a mammoth task of making a biographical video epic on the life of Srila Prabhupada, entitled Abhayachara. This video series was broadcast on national television in India and distributed globally on DVD. 4 million views in a few months. I remember when Guru Maharaj came to New Zealand, he was talking about how he was actually thinking to make a TV serial on Mahaprabhu. Because he said, these days people don't have the desire or don't have any interest in reading. They love watching. But because they love watching, he thought, let me see if I can make something that people can watch and learn from it. So he was thinking, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes or Srila Prabhupada? Then he gave priority. He said, it's important for me to broadcast the glories of Prabhupada, which is unheard. We should glorify Prabhupada for what he has done for the society, for the general good of mankind. So he embarked on this mission, and he engaged devotees. In his devotional, he basically engaged all devotees. Basically, all the characters in it were devotees, except a couple of famous actors, but all other than that were devotees. In 2004, at the invitation of the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, he built a magnificent ISKCON temple in just 10 months in Ujjain. And the ancient, this is actually an ancient place where Sandipuni Ashram was, where Lord Krishna and Balaram studied. It's called Avantika. And the extraordinary marble temple features 3 large altars, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Krishna Balaram, and Shri Gaudinai. And of course, a Gaushala for cow protection. They also do a midday meals facility for school children. They've got a rural program to spread Vedic culture to village people, and several other outreach centers in Bhopal and Indore. When he was choosing to make the temple, he wanted the best. And he found the Makarana marble, which was actually used to make Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal was made of white Makarana marble. So he selected the best marble. And he was actually saying that I don't want to Lakshmi. When we are doing something with pure heart and devotion, Lakshmi automatically comes. For Krishna, we're doing something for Krishna, Lakshmi. So we're not asking for people money, but we want these people's engagement. Somehow the same to serve. And when we engage in such activities, preaching, cooking for the devotees, pleasing devotees, particularly the service of Vaishnavas, for him, Vaishnav Seva was very, very important. He was a great host. He always made sure that whatever was organized, absolutely everything was perfect. Prashadam was perfect. Accommodation was perfect. There was no discomfort to devotees. So everything was perfectly organized. He hosted many workshops, events at Ujjain Temple, and senior ISKCON leadership attended, and everyone was very well looked after. He was a great cook as well. He loved cooking, and that he learned Sri Prabhupada, some of his great recipes he learned from Sri Prabhupada, and he learned Chinese. He loved Chinese, noodles and stir fries, and of course European shadam like lasagna and pizza. So, and he was cooked. I mean, I remember when he first cooked in Fiji, and I was there, and I tasted that out of the world. So tasty. I've never tasted it before. So it was an amazing cook. I remember Jai Srila Prabhu was saying that when he first came to New Zealand, a long, long time ago, he used to go and search for different shak, which the devotees call as weeds, because they know the different leafy vegetables, and he would cook, and it's amazing. He served as ISKCON governor for France and South Africa, at a time when the zones were facing immense difficulty. As a perspective, he was able to turn the situations into dislocations around. And in 2007, he began an altar production facility in Ujjain. The facility manufactures building deity altars of all shapes and sizes for temples and devotees globally. So they make really nice altars, and they sell it off. They also make their own dresses for the deity, embroidery and everything, from you name it, They said instead of going elsewhere from outside, like a lot of times we go to Vrindavan because that's the place, right, for all the jewelry and all the clothing, everything. But he decided to bring everything to China. Train the devotees there. The devotees make their own altars. They make Srila Prabhupada Murti. They make the dresses, everything, you name it. So he wanted to become self-sufficient rather than being dependent on someone. In 2013, he began the development of a new temple in Panihati, very holy place in the Gauriya Vaishnava tradition, where Raghav Pandit had his home, and that's where the Lord Nityananda held the chipped rice, Dahi festival. In 2014, Maharaj established Arogya Niketan, a traditional and authentic Ayurvedic clinic in Ujjain, and also joined the Artha Forum and began delivering keynote speeches globally on spiritual life, spirituality, and large audience businesses and audience business leaders. One thing I forgot to mention is that in Ujjain, he also developed a Ayurvedic clinic as well. So he's got disciples who run Ayurvedic as well. So devotees go there. He's got a nice restaurant, everything. So you go, it's a very nice facility to there. And in Ujjain, they feed about 23,000 school children per day. And this has increased since. They've got a 6,000 square meter industrial kitchen. Maharaj also served as the chairman of Annamrit Foundation, ISKCON's midday meals program, which feeds over 1.2 million children across India. Maharaj also served twice as chairman of GBC and was its GBC zonal secretary for ISKCON in Mayapur, Kolkata, Ujjain, Bhubaneswar, Bangladesh, and Seattle. For decades, he traveled across India, USA, UK, South Africa, Middle East, Australia, holding spiritual retreats and seminars. And in 2016, he released his memo, Ocean of Mercy, A Search Fulfilled, in which he recollects his intimate interaction with Srila Prabhupada. The book describes how he developed a genuine love and dedication for Srila Prabhupada. In November 2016, instead of the International Social Development, the New York NGO, in special consultative status with Economic and Social Council, the United Nations awarded an accolade to Bhakti Maharaj as a display of their gratitude for all the support he gave them on behalf of ISKCON in spreading the message of spirituality for world peace and understanding between nations and civilizations. And in 2018, he again started this project in America, which is the D-Land project. He was developing a rural location, and he would develop them into a temple place where devotees can come and serve and stay, and similar to this rural lifestyle here. So that was his service. One thing, a couple of things he mentioned, he was very particular, and he said, if you are a follower of ISKCON, make sure you are loyal to Srila Prabhupada. You're loyal to GBC. Never leave ISKCON. Never leave ISKCON. For him, he always emphasized that Srila Prabhupada had built out such a nice arrangement that we've got. We must enjoy and serve, make this movement grow bigger and bigger. And unfortunately, he left this planet on 4th July. Wait. But he was very pakka in so many things. You know, he was very particular about etiquette. He was a minister of culture, and he said, as devotees, we must have proper etiquette. How to address devotees, how to serve them. We used to run the Vaishnava etiquette courses at the Vaishnava Institute of Higher Education. And above all of that, he was a great singer. He has a really nice voice. He sings so melodiously that devotees would relish. So many nice, beautiful bhajans. And he used to chastise devotees, particularly Bengalis, who would not pronounce Bengali language properly. I remember Shantanu Prabhu, Suchandra Prabhu, and Sitananda Mataji, when they went to India, you should pronounce Bengali language properly. He would chastise devotees. So that was his life. His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj Ki. Any questions and comments? it is a, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Dhruva Lok, which is known as Vishnu Lok, is a spiritual planet in the material world. It doesn't get highlighted at the night of Brahma, basically. So there's two types of dissolutions. One is the night of Brahma, and the other one is at the end of Brahma's life. So at the end of that dissolution, it doesn't get destroyed. But at the end of Brahma's life, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says that even that gets destroyed. But the complete dissolution happens, and that time they go to Vishnu, Vaikuntha. They all go. They all go. They all go. They're accompanying him. That's what the Acharya explained. I was, in fact, I was surprised. Is it probably is it correct? That's what I've read. And Prabhupada mentioned the same thing. He quotes Srila Bhakti, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in this that the planet is eternal, but after Brahma's life ends, then a complete dissolution, and that's when he goes. Any other comments? So never leave ISKCON, be loyal to GBC, and be loyal to Srila Prabhupada. Those are the three main instructions. But I think Guru Maharaj was the first person who introduced the fifth regulative principle. The fourth we have the four regulative principles, and the fifth vow is to ask his devotees, disciples at the time of initiation was, take a vow that you will never leave ISKCON. Yeah, you should always serve Srila Prabhupada's mission and never ever think about even living this. ISKCON is Prabhupada's body. Whatever difficult situations we may come across, we must not think about live. When you think about difficult situations, always remember the difficulty the Pandavas faced. Despite that, they did not lose faith in Krishna. They were always dependent on Krishna. They always remembered Krishna. In the same way, we must be loyal to the path. Anyone else? Okay, so thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Bhakti Charan Maharaj ki, Gaur Premanande.